What the fuck? Are you peeing? Are you peeing?
Yeah, I thought we were talking about Citizen Amendment Act.
Wait, did you just pee out of a hose or something?
One could argue. No, there was a lot of heat built up from all of the debate
Debating
about the cab and the car and cab.
car and cab.
Hygiene first.
Toilet ASMR. Dear, do you wanna hear my rendition of Bohemian Rhapsody?
Oh no.
It's a masterpiece, bro. It's a masterpiece.
My rendition of Bohemian Rhapsody.
So we're having like episode 8 part 1, right?
Huh?
We're doing episode 8 part 1, right?
I guess.
Episode 8, I guess.
Special episode because our country is in danger.
Special episode.
On fire, country is burning. Apparently, country is burning, right?
Welcome to the Christmas episode where our country stops existing.
Communist donor propaganda.
Propaganda.
Alright, let's go.
Okay, so
Hey, we didn't get.
can you explain?
Did we not get?
Wait, I sent Faisy a link. Let me see if he clicks it.
Yeah.
If he clicks it, welcome to the chat. If he doesn't,
It's a bait. Clickbait.
so yeah. So Sugar
So
Daddy,
let's set
you were saying what happened, what pretty much sparked this whole social media thing. Let's just talk about the social media part of it. Right?
Yeah. So
the overall
the whole
concept.
issue at Jamia.
We should probably, like, for someone who's listening and doesn't know what the fuck we're talking about. So 2 laws implemented in India. We have the CAB, which is the Citizen Amendment.
Cinnamon Amendment.
Did I just say cinnamon?
You just said cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
Application bill.
Cinnamon Anal Act.
Yeah, Cinnamon Anal. We have the Cinnamon Anal Act, in which everyone who's non-Muslim is required to stick stick of cinnamon up his ass.
Non-Muslim immigrants who are trying to penetrate into Indian order.
Because we already have cinnamons up our ass. Like all Indians have cinnamons up our ass.
To become one of the curry master race.
Okay, no, but seriously, explain it to them.
Yeah, continue.
Citizens Amendment Act. Citizenship Amendment Act.
Yes, basically means as long as you're not Muslim, you can basically become a citizen of India. And to actually be
you can be a citizen of India if you were in India before 2014 December 31st, I think.
Yeah,
yes.
So they already have a list of people whom they are planning on putting on this, and that's already a 30,000 number of 30,000, and it doesn't have a single Muslim in it. And this list was proposed by the UPA government in 2003. So that's where they get everything. So basically what BJP is arguing is that they are just implementing what the Congress had already scratched up. Like they're not putting anything new into it. The only change that they have made is that earlier anybody who
one
was
day Congress was sitting down and their homework was, so what would a fascist government do if they were both? How about this? And BJ was like, that's the shit right there.
We should be homies. ഒരു തന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞ ഒരേ പാത്രത്തിൽ ഇട്ട് വളർന്ന്
Fascistical.
And the only change that BJP brought into this whole scene was that earlier it required you to be in the country for 11 years and prove your track record and whatever. But now they have reduced that to 5 years. So that's basically the only change they've got about, and it's only for some 30,313 people or something like that. See, the thing is, like, people only know about the whole Jamia incident from when the police got to the library, because that's when the Instagram stories started pouring in.
Yeah.
And like, but
Dude, that single incident probably killed like 7 to 8 people already in India.
It hasn't. Yeah, in India. Yeah. Over there, basically, like nobody died or anything. In between, they said some guy, Shaki, he died and all that. And 2 days later, the same people are like, no, he's alive and well.
he was
And
like
then
Jesus
another
Christ.
comes, he's
In the spirit of Christmas, he came back after 3 days.
and he said, kill the Jews.
Oh shit.
I need a glass of juice. Gotta guess the juice.
We can never put
On
our
the bright side.
We can never put our name out. We can never do that.
Yeah. Oh, so on the bright side, we've started building concentration camps in India already. So
Yeah,
hooray.
we did.
Yeah.
That's the.
No, they existed. They've existed for a while now. Dude.
Yeah,
It's not
they
a
have
new
existed
thing.
for a
Like,
while
people
now.
are like,
Oh, no.
they're
New
building
construction has started
camps.
also.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why don't they just send them back though? Like, what is stopping Bangladesh from taking back their citizens?
It's a small fucking place. And they're poor as shit.
It's like all these matches. All these matches was like filled in that box before they came out of the box. Why not put it back in the box? Yeah, hello.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Hello.
if they don't construct these camps, where are they going to store all the people? Like in the air, like.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, all of you, it would be cool if you all just meditate.
Underground.
Where they can't hear them.
We go the Elon Musk route. Okay, we're like, listen, we want your boring company here. Bring it here. Okay.
And fill hyperloops with immigrants. Yeah.
Hyperloops with immigrants, yeah. I'm just going to say that.
Build hyperloops with immigrants.
Oh, no. I mean, they'll have like a job also in a multinational company.
It's like how Donald Trump says.
and the
"We're
best
gonna
thing
build a
is
wall
we
and
don't
we'll
have
make the
to pay
Mexicans
them."
Pay for it.
Oh shit.
Yeah. We'll make Bangladesh pay for it.
Okay, so whatever we told till now is very sarcastic. Please don't take it seriously.
Oh, dude, just get fired up, get all fucking.
Regardless.
Last share dislike.
No, regardless.
And that's how we lost our one follower.
Hey, we need Kushal on this podcast one day. Bring him in.
Yeah.
See
I
what
could have actually asked him for this one. Dude. Damn, he would have actually spoken. He was just pretty pissed off about the whole Greta Thunberg getting the Forbes Person of the Year award. He's pretty pissed. Like, I hate that bitch. It's like, okay.
Yeah, bro, I bunked school for no reason, okay? And they don't give me shit except warnings and fucking punishment. But the day this girl's like, you know what? Fuck school, I'm gonna leave. She gets fucking celebrated and she's fucking awesome. I had no hope in our society before I was born, okay?
Postpartum depression. Prepartum, though, in this case.
Prenatal.
Prenatal depression, yeah. I mean, and the other guy, what was his name? The Clean the Oceans guy. He didn't get anything. He just didn't get anything for that. For all his efforts.
Yeah, I know, right?
I think fine. So go ahead with your story.
no.
Go ahead with your story.
Dude, I don't think he can discuss this at home.
Yeah, I know. He can't viably discuss this. The Saudi government is listening.
Discuss this. Saudi government is listening, yeah.
Yeah, so tell the
So,
story. What
the
happened?
story is that so apparently during the JNU protests were going on regarding a completely different issue for 2 months, and the Communist Party got involved in the whole thing.
Basically,
so they had the students wing over there.
Like they always do.
Then they just like they always do, and they just sidetrack the whole thing completely into a whole other topic altogether. And finally, that so there were some what do you say, like a lot of protests and things like that, commotion going on in JNU, and parallelly when this whole CAA
and that was
started,
because
came in the Lok Sabha. Hello?
No, the initial protest was just about what, fees hike, right? That's about it.
Yeah.
Fees
Like
hike,
they
yeah.
did not want
It
to
was
pay,
a 300% fees hike, yeah. And this was going on,
Yeah.
and then the whole Lok Sabha hearing came about the CAB and CAA. And the moment that whole thing got over, a students' union from Jamia and there was a bunch of guys from JNU who went into the local police station, because these colleges are pretty close to each other. And they went to the police station and they made a whole scene over there. They were like pelting stones and stuff like that, and that is what. And then the suspects from that went back into college and hid there. And to get them is what the cops came in for. And then they were again pelted at the gates, and that's how the cops forced their way into the campus. But again, like not justifying that the cops could get into the campus without permission. That is not true. But then at the same time, you have Indira Gandhi who sent cops into a freaking Gurudwara to find the terrorist who's sitting inside, and they found him. That was the crazy part.
And
they had
and people are mad about it.
That's
They're like, why did you find
they
that?
had anti-tank missiles in the Gurudwara. They
Exactly.
These students had stones.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
so
I mean-
that's the whole story, yeah.
So that's what happened, and then the
But
whole
wait,
thing
what's this?
started blowing up.
Wait, so what's this bus burning thing? Yeah.
Yeah, so then
Apparently
the whole
they
thing started,
staged that bus burning thing
blowing
and all
up.
that, right?
Yeah, so what happened was, like, this started blowing up, and then a bunch of students, like, they torched 2 buses with petrol bombs, and along with, I don't know where this other video came in, but what they're saying is, like, a bunch of these ABVP workers, they were not in police uniform, obviously, and they were seen torching a bus. So what people are like, the cops are torching the bus themselves, and so in order to frame the students for having done it, and then based on that they're getting into the college and stuff like that. But in the background, what people don't see is, like, if anybody who has seen Indian movies, they'll know how this whole thing works. There'll be somebody who's like completely out of the scene, who has nothing to do with this. They would come in and they will just like start some violence. They will either pelt someone or torch a bus, and then the
Some
whole riot
MG
starts
fuck only,
between-
bro.
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
finally, we can hear Faizi.
Brilliant,
Okay.
Yay.
Perfect. Okay, so Faizi,
Okay, so-
considering you're the only
Yeah,
Muslim
bro.
here,
Dude, that's why we were saying, like, BJP was cutting you off from WhatsApp. Full minority data protection rules.
But they can't control the CIA controlled clean feed.
CIA controlled by Saudi Arabia.
Oh.
so
I'm surprised that this
what
shit is not
your-
banned here, but yeah, okay.
They just don't know about it.
No, this is oh no, radios use this to like broadcast
yet.
their interviews and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Okay. Cool.
So this place is legit. Okay.
Big thing, big
Ah,
thing.
yeah. Big shit. So, what we should probably start off with either Faizi or and then it'll unfold, won't it?
Oh no, I'll tell Faizi the story. I'll repeat the story again for Faizi.
Yes,
so
go
Sure,
we
bro,
were
go
discussing,
ahead,
we were
go ahead.
discussing how the whole Jamia thing came up. And main thing is that it came up on Instagram only once the cops got into the library, and then the whole video started showing up. And what happened was, like, I think a day before this, after the Lok Sabha hearings are seen, like, it's usually broadcasted, right? It's telecasted. And once the thing got over, a bunch of people from JNU and from Jamia, they went into the local police station and they started a whole scene over there. And they started.
He got removed.
Did he
got
just get
removed.
cut
Yeah,
off?
he got
Hey, so bro, one
Oh,
second. One thing
God
I'd like to
damn it.
add to that, what said was, like,
Hello?
the protest and all that shit that started happening in.
No, let him
okay.
continue the story.
It's
Finish
bad.
the,
Yeah,
let him finish his
Kapil-
story.
okay, yeah, sure.
Kapil Sibil is cutting me off. So, so what happened was,
Blame Congress for
went to the
everything.
police. So what happened was that they started pelting at the cops in the police station, and the cops started chasing them.
But
and
why?
the
Why did
people
they
who did
start
that,
pelting the cops in the police station? What did they do?
after
You
the
can't
so
tell
after
me
the
that you
CAB
haven't pelted cops in a
That's-
police station. Regular pastime with Jay.
This is how protests work in this country.
protests are work in this country. Dude, see, the funny thing is, the point I'm trying to make over here is that, like, probably someone who had nothing to do with this whole thing, like, it's all a political game. Like, you know how this is done in Kerala, right? You've seen it in movies. Like, there'll be, like,
Yeah.
some whole mob situation, and then somebody will throw a stone, and then he'll run away, and Ingulab will come, and suddenly everybody's, like, there's fire everywhere. And same
Getting fucked.
situation happened. Yeah, and the same situation happened in this case also, and the people ran back into the campus, and the cops went chasing behind them, and then like people started pelting stones from inside campus. You can see that in the video also. And after that is when the cops barged in to the thing. And I mean, I'm not saying that they did the right thing by getting into campus.
Bro, one
but,
second.
yeah.
The pelting stone thing from inside the campus started only after the police fired a tear gas. Started firing tear gas shells inside the campus.
No, that's from
Like,
where the video started.
No, bro, like, it's true that these people ran back into the campus and they were protesting inside the campus. And to disperse those people off, the police fired a tear gas shell. And these motherfuckers started throwing stones back at them, which is a fucking dumb idea.
No. So they were throwing stones all the way. They touched the bus while they were going, and then
One
they
second,
went
bro,
inside the campus.
wait. Bro, one
Yeah,
second. This
yeah.
whole police starting lathi charge and all that shit started only after the bus burning incident, mainly. And videos have arised where this
Yeah.
bus burning incident itself was staged. As in, there are videos where police, cops wearing uniforms are going around with petrol, the tanks and all that shit, and they were pouring petrol over the bus and they lit the bus on fire. And this video
There
has come
were,
on, and even I
there
was shocked
were-
for the point.
There were
It's
three
basically
buses that were torched.
bro, they have.
There were 3 buses that were torched. There are 2 other videos which talk about the other 2 buses being torched by students itself. Like, so what I'm trying to say is that
Regardless, why did the cops burn that one bus? It's obviously to
we don't know.
infuriate
See,
the
we
whole
don't know,
idea of
like, as
violence.
a-
Like, there is
No,
no
no,
good
no,
reason
think
for
about
any
this.
cop to burn a bus.
BJP guys
Think about this.
dressed up as cops.
That
Yeah,
was
that
also
is
there.
what I'm
And
saying. That's
see,
what I'm
that's
trying
the
to
point.
say.
That's the
This-
and that's the point I'm trying to make. That's the point I'm trying to make. There are like the Congress-led students unions that like, for example, you have like DFI, DYFI, and all that communist things over here. SFI.
They're
and stuff
commies,
like that.
yeah.
You know how violent they get. Yeah, and similarly, there were such forces in the north also, students unions, and the thing that you're talking about BJP, right? They were ABVP people. So BJP also has like the similar outfit in students union. and they
ABVP
also
is
did
their
the
student,
same thing in
it's their
retaliation.
student union, yeah.
Exactly. Akhila Hindu Parishad, whatever. Vidya Parishad. yeah.
Akhila
So,
Bharatiya
point
Vidyarthi
being that-
Parishad, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So the point being that this was a fight
Oh
that
my
was
God.
between those 2 student unions, and then they started running back into campus, and following them is the cops came in, and they and initially, even before this whole thing started, they were pelted before that also, outside campus I'm talking about, and then they got inside campus, and
There
I
is
don't know
no
what
assurance
exactly
that,
went
just
on.
like you said, how there are Malayalam movies in which the opposing side gets in with the protesters and pelts stone at the cops just so that these protesters will get fucked. Just like that, don't you think that there is some possibility that it's not the protesters exactly who were pelting stones in the first place?
So there
And
were-
I'm forced to
there
say
were
this
no
because
protesters.
one second. Bro, one second. I'm forced to say this because there are videos and fake videos and all that shit that are coming out with which says that the protesters are actually against the whole Hindu community of India. And like
that is
just for
bullshit.
example,
Oh,
like
wow.
yeah, exactly. For example, like there was this one poster which got a lot of recognition. Like his poster said "Hindu hu, chutiya nahi." All right.
Yeah.
So it's written
yes.
like Hindu hu on one line and chutiya nahi on the other line. So what they basically did was they just cut the photo in half. So it looked like this guy was holding up a placard saying Hindu chutiya. So that is
Oh, wow.
how, that is exactly how they want the protesters to be portrayed so that there is national hatred towards the whole uprisal as a whole. When the whole reason as to why they are
one
being
thing
mobilized
one
is
thing
legit.
One thing is, now you said this, right? I'm saying that similar to this, there is a whole other side of it. Like, for example, like the Instagram feeds that you see are highly dependent upon who your friends are. and the kind of posts they share.
Yeah,
So we don't end up
Yeah, yeah,
seeing
that
the
I'm
gross
aware, yes.
content basically. And so the other flip
Also,
side
wait,
of
one
it is
second.
that
On the other
yeah.
side, yeah, whoever are Sankis, let me just say that they will obviously only be
Yeah.
seeing these kind of fake newses. All right.
No,
So their contents will also be conditioned.
there are a whole bunch of instigated or agitated Muslims also who will be seeing similar kind of posts that are shared among themselves. Like who would be like talking about how these guys are RSS junkies and they're doing this kind of shit. Is there? I've seen it. I'll share it with you on Facebook. I've seen it.
Yeah. I'm not denying.
But the point being that the whole situation, like the whole actual central issue, is getting dissolved, just like how the hostel issue got dissolved by the JNU protesting forces. Like the whole reason why JNU got into the whole picture was because of the hostel protests for fee hike. Now that has been going on for 2 months, okay, and that just completely took a U-turn and moved into something else.
Also, you know that
a
this
bigger
whole
issue comes up, you
cab
jump
and
onto a
NRC
bigger
thing.
issue, right?
Exactly, bro. The economy was getting fucked up. Nirmala Sitharaman had given out a shitty budget, and people started questioning about the falling GDP rates in India. And they brought up this whole cab and all, CA, all this shit, NRC,
Dude,
so that people shifted their attention to that now. This is just like how they had the same shit happening last year, and they brought in the beef ban. Huh?
No, I think that see, like the whole thing is like if you look at the BJP manifesto and if you look at the order in which they had written things,
They have
the
one.
exact same order is what they're following. Oh yeah, dude, like they campaigned with this, like in their manifesto, CAB. Then I'll tell you what is going to come next. Next is going to be the Uniform Civil Code. I'll tell you, like that'll come in the next 3 months. So I'm saying like they had a checklist already prepared and they had campaigned with that checklist and people voted them into power with a 60% majority. All right, and the kind of
Bro, one second. Let me just remind you
Yeah.
that the majority of India is predominantly Hindus. I'm just leaving this
Sure,
here. I'm not
80%.
going to be communal about it, but yeah, more than 80% of
It will be,
India's
right?
population are Hindus.
It will be, right?
And
It
once
will be,
again,
right?
one of the main postulates that BJP campaigned with was the idea of Akhand Bharat. Basically, how India was in the pre-British era when all this whole India, Pakistan, Bangladesh was one huge land of Bharat as such. And this is exactly what they are.
Including Nepal, parts of China, and
Yeah, it's funny how,
Afghanistan, Baluchistan.
it's-
So that
Yeah. Yeah, that is what they were
It's
planning on.
funny
The whole
how
idea
when
of
we think
Akhand
of
Bharat
Indian
with
rulers, the first thing we come up with is still the Mughals, though.
yeah, there's a whole other history before that. You know, freaking Genghis Khan and
there is
Genius.
I think of
Mughals did
Palashiraman.
not Parashuraman. Are you thinking about Parashiraja or Parashuraman?
Palashiraman.
Kodadi.
Parashuraman, the Kodali guy.
Palashiraman, Maveli.
And
That old, huh?
then
Tipu
Yeah, bro,
Sultan.
so wait. But Tipu Sultan was even later, bro.
Hey, I'm throwing an idea out there. What if North India and South India split into two?
It's very hard, bro, because
Whoa,
Northeast
whoa,
people have already been trying for some shit like that, and they are never gonna, let people do that. Also, one thing,
And
we are
South-
from Kerala, and we are from
Yeah.
Kerala, and we are privileged enough
it
to
doesn't
think that
work,
BJP
we
is not
can't
gonna
really
come in
succeed.
here.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, BJP is
And-
never gonna
and-
come to Kerala. Forget that.
Wait, one
Not
second.
yet.
Wait, yeah, bro. That's not yet. That's what I'm saying. So I think that in the next few couple of months, they'll eventually start giving out laws so that federalism will be weakened. Our whole idea of BJP not coming to Kerala is just
Yeah,
because
it's
we have
becoming
a
a lot
strong
more centrist.
state
See,
government.
If they manage
yeah,
to
exactly.
If they manage to
No,
twist
I-
this into like a proper look, if shit actually does get violent, or like if it becomes like an armed revolt sort of a thing, then they can officially declare an emergency. Because like unlike
Exactly.
earlier when Indira Gandhi did it doesn't just need to be it doesn't just need to be unrest. Now it's actually like armed revolt. So if the moment
One second,
someone
one
goes
second.
and picks up like a gun or a couple of stones and they decide that's armed revolt, we can manage to declare an emergency. And if we manage to declare an emergency, it basically becomes like a centrist government.
Yeah, the state government wouldn't have any more power.
And then the problem that I have with this whole situation is people are jumping into like the problem without seeing what the entire issue is, or without even like considering the fact that Well, considering the fact of what they're protesting against, it's like
No, see, look, NRC was already in effect in like a lot of areas. I mean, take Assam for example. Okay, they actually have like a refugee problem, and they implemented the NRC to get rid of it. Okay, and even in a place where that is a problem,
and that's where the
no wait,
and that's
even
where
that
Vishnu,
is
I mean,
actually a problem, right?
That's where the protest started. Yes, yeah.
Exactly that has been going on for a long time. So why would they implement such a like policy that's already
so
sort
about
of
the
disputed?
NRC in Assam, they had already enlisted 1.9 million people, out of which only 7 lakh were Muslims. The rest of were Hindus. There were even people
but
who
they-
had.
But
And
now with
they
the biggest
already
problem,
did, like,
the biggest
uh,
problem. One second. The biggest problem was that their plan was that people who are not on this list, people who are not on the national register would be detained and would be sent out of the country. And
Exactly,
people of
there are
Assam
detention
were
centers being
pro
constructed,
doing
yeah.
this. Wait. And people of Assam were pro doing this while the UPA government was doing, and the UDF was the ruling party at that point in Assam. Now the
Because it
problems
sounds like
came in.
a good idea, right?
Bro, are you
Initially,
sure
it sounds
about
like a
this
good
whole
idea.
non-Muslim
The
issue being?
implementation-
Was it there in the
see-
postulate even then?
So no, initially,
Yeah.
no. So
Dude, this
no,
was there.
see, that's
The
the thing.
Citizenship
No.
Act
The
was-
non-Muslim thing. No, listen. The thing was the
Why
NRC
don't-
and the CAA are two different laws. Okay, the NRC
Exactly,
is just
exactly.
a see the CAA in conjunction with the NRC is what makes this whole thing a worrying problem. Okay,
Exactly.
Because if you have one or the other, you aren't really discriminating against someone. Rather, you're trying to establish
Exactly.
citizenship, okay, or accept
for all the
refugees.
minority people, yeah.
But with both these laws in conjunction all over India, what happens is this becomes like an easy way to discriminate against one particular minority, which is what people
Exactly.
have a problem
Some
with.
minorities are more equal than others. That's the whole idea behind it.
And that way, this whole the expulsion thing about de-citizenizing people is only applicable to Assam. That is also another postulate in the
No, see,
NRC.
it was. Yeah, it was, but not
Not
anymore.
anymore,
right?
yeah.
It still is.
No,
it
it
still
isn't.
is. You
It
have
isn't.
different.
No, it
you have,
isn't.
No.
Dude, you
So-
have
no,
two
Earlier
NRCs
the-
for the
Bro,
rest of
they
India.
are
and
saying
one for
every
Assam.
single existing-
The
Every
way
existing
NRC
citizen
works
of
is
India has
every
to prove their
state-
citizenship by
Yes,
showing
that is the
documents that
new-
some ancestors of theirs lived in India before 1971.
Yes.
And most people
See,
in the
and
Northeast do
earlier
not
the
have
way-
any such
earlier-
documents as such. Yeah.
Yeah, earlier
Yeah,
the thing was,
continuation.
look, it was only implemented in Assam and some northeastern areas, but now it's becoming like an all over India thing. Okay, and that is the actual problem with this, right? If you have refugees, okay, if you look at like some place like Assam or the northeast in general, the borders there are pretty fucking porous.
The rest of the
Okay,
Wait. One more thing is like it's not about the detention. The detention aspect of it is curtailed to Assam. The rest of the place, it's not about detention. It is about proving your citizenship, or rather, it's about enrolling your citizenship.
Bro,
So
do you
the
really
document
think
is
that
they've given it. One second,
more
one-
detention
hey,
centers
hey,
are
just hear me
not
out,
going to
just hear-
come up in
just
other
hear me
places
out.
as well?
Just hear me out. Just hear me out. So in the document list, if you examine the document list, it's not just ancestral document as a proof. That particular statement is there mainly for Assamese regions because the tribal community have put up that request. In the rest of India, you can even give your voter ID, you can give your ration card, you can give insurance papers, you can give all sorts of things. If people who are living with any of these things, they are more likely to be illegal immigrants into the country. So if you as per the previous
but don't you
Citizenship
think
Act,
an illegal immigrant? Look,
one second,
an illegal immigrant who doesn't.
would already have documents.
Okay.
You're saying, right? Fake documents or
Yes.
whatever. Is that what it is?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why they enroll people into the Aadhaar program and this and that. There's a whole bunch of things. And if they did have fake documents, then what is the whole argument about? They don't have to worry, right?
No, because then you're actually managed to go against the people who are poorer and the people who if you manage to have like
You don't
a couple
have
of
access to
bucks
such shit,
on
yeah.
you. Oh yeah, exactly. And if you manage, then you're actually discriminating
Who don't
against
have
people
access
who don't
to?
need to be discriminated.
You're saying you're discriminating against people who don't have fake documents. Like, does that even legally make sense? I don't think so. And if you take any country in the world,
None
they
of this
have
makes
a
sense,
national
bro. That's the
register.
problem.
No. So
Oh
you
my
take
God.
any other country in the world. You take any other country in the world, they have a citizenship register. You take UAE, they have the Emirates ID. You take US, they have their permanent residence and different visa laws. In India also, they have the Citizenship Act, which was framed in 1955.
But see, the problem is that we still haven't been able to implement it. Fuck it, we can't even do a census properly. Okay, Like if you look
Because
at a
too
place
many people
where,
to do that, yeah.
Especially if you look at a place like Assam or anywhere northeast, most of those places are inaccessible for most people. Okay, and we decide, okay, you know what, fuck it, like we can't really get to those
so
places.
that's the reason why the central government in the application of the CAA to the rest of India, they are not doing it immediately. It will be in immediate effect in Assam. The rest of India, they are still preparing guidelines for it. It's not happened yet. Get it?
Yeah,
Like, this
but
is
the
there.
way
If
it's
you read
going,
the whole
but
way
look,
it's going,
see,
what do you
like
think
the
by
whole
the way it's going?
structuring, bro, the whole
it
structuring of
has
this
not
law
gone
itself is
anywhere
messed
yet.
up because,
No, the structuring of the law has already happened since 1955. This
See-
has been going on. It got amended in 83, and then it got further amended in 71, and then Rajiv Gandhi died. And then this whole thing went on further, and then in 2003 UPA proposed it again. And that's what I'd shared that video
see,
also. Like,
yeah, but
for the
no,
same
but
reason.
see, look, listen. The difference is back then there wasn't as much of like the government at least did not have the like they weren't going for Ramraj. Okay, they weren't exactly preaching. They weren't exactly preaching. What do you call it? Like a pro-Hindu, a Hindu country. Like from the get-go. So
Exactly.
what's worrying people is the fact that
So
this
why
is
else do you
like,
think? Why else do you think? Why else do you think they put forward that bill in the first place?
why do you think it wasn't passed until the
The
Hindu
same
government
is the
came into
same
power?
wordings.
oh yeah.
Because
Yeah,
they
but it
got a
wasn't
freaking
passed.
majority. Because they got a freaking majority in the parliament.
Exactly,
Like,
and
is that a
exactly.
failure
By
of Indian
using the
democracy?
same
I don't know.
religious sentiments is how they
Yes,
got
it
into
is.
power.
I mean, exactly.
And what they're doing
managed
with this law is
that
appealing to the
what
same
have
people
a
who-
problem with, right?
yeah.
It was not, dude. It was not just appealing to religious sentiments. Like, it was because Congress was a shitty opposition. That was the main reason why people voted.
Yes,
This religious
exactly.
sentiment
That's
has
the
But
been
whole
now
there for
reason
a
why
long
BJP
time.
is
now-
in
Your
power,
Gujarat-
first of all.
See,
Congress
when
being a
but
shitty
now-
opposition is why
happened,
BJP is in
when
power.
Gujarat riots
After
happened, when
they've come
Gujarat
into
riots
power-
happened, whom do you think people voted for? Or when the Sikh riots happened, whom do you think people voted for? See, this whole religious thing is not just the. It's just like one of the facade
Bro, one
things
second,
that you're talking
bro.
about, but it's not
Bro,
just
when
a
the
single
Gujarat
religion.
riots happened, BJP was
NDA was
the
in power,
people
you're
who
saying?
were in power. NDA
Exactly,
wasn't in
so
power,
after
but
that,
in
what
Gujarat
happened?
in Gujarat state, it was BJP in power. And the police forces were owned obviously by the Home Minister of the state, which is again led by a BJP government, and obviously the CM of the place was Narendra Modi back in 2002.
No, that's
right
not
after
the point I'm trying to
Godhra
make.
train burning
That's
incident.
not the point
the-
I'm trying to make. That's not the point I'm trying to
No, I'm
make.
saying
You will
this-
have BJP.
the whole-
You
the
will
whole
have
idea of
BJP-centric
this
governments.
BJP
You will
being a-
have BJP. You will have BJP-centric governments in state-wise systems always. Okay, like it's not like every time UPA came into power, BJP never owned a state. That's not the case. Gujarat is a perfect example of that. But my point being that when you're talking about central politics, this whole thing about the entire nation like voting for one party is not just because it's not founded just on religious lines. It's because Congress was a shitty opposition, and they're still managed to be a shitty
Obviously,
opposition today. So
We're
when
not-
you
yeah,
don't
they
have an
are. We're not
opposition
denying that.
representation. So when you don't have an opposition representation, what happens is that in the parliament you lose, and then that's why 305 constituencies went to BJP, and only the remaining 80 whatever or whatever how many remaining constituencies.
And bro, my
they went
point
to
is
the
that,
others.
and my point is that Congress is the lesser evil than BJP, because Congress all they did was they fucked up with corruption. They were
Oh.
super fucked up at greedy
Don't-
people.
don't-
But BJP,
don't
BJP
bring
is
that.
doing
Don't
corruption
don't say that.
no,
Don't
bro,
say
I'm
that.
saying
Don't
they
say
were not
that.
exactly communal.
see-
They were not making people fight with each other.
Oh, you have no idea. Are you saying Congress was not communal?
Look, if the government had if the government actually had a problem with illegal immigrants coming into the country, why suddenly make it okay for all illegal immigrants except for Muslims?
Because that
Exactly,
was always
there
the
are-
clause.
there are
Because-
oppressed
No,
minorities, there
that
are
is
oppressed
always-
minorities
That was
like-
always the clause. Rohingyas, you're
Yeah,
going to
no,
say
but
next,
see,
right?
look-
Rohingyas or the other people. That's
No,
because you
I
cannot
mean,
bring
Not
in
just
oppressed
Rohingyas, Myanmar
minorities.
wasn't exactly a part of India. Let us just say, let's go with Pakistan.
Dude,
When
forget
Ahmadiyya Muslims in
forget
Pakistan,
Myanmar
Shia
being-
Muslims in
forget
Afghanistan.
Myanmar.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
keep
because
in mind,
Ahmadiyya Muslims
this
are
whole-
not.
Look, this whole law came the whole law was first called upon during the time of Indo-Pak war. Like it was just post that whole thing where we actually had to oppose the Pakistanis.
Dude, it's not because we had to oppose Pakistanis. It was because Bangladesh was created, and a lot of people were coming across the border. That is why they had to do this. And
what was the Bangladeshi thing? It was anti-Pakistan. The whole
It was
before that
anti-Pakistan
East
because-
Pakistan. Yes. Because
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
it
so
was literally
because-
anti-Pakistan, right? It was East Pakistan and
Yes.
it was East Pakistan and West Pakistan. East Pakistan did not want
Exactly,
East Pakistan
exactly.
anymore. So we're like,
Exactly,
go for it.
exactly.
We'll be against Pakistan for
Exactly.
you guys. And then Pakistan
Exactly.
doesn't
So
fuck
when
with us,
Bangladesh
and we
came in,
fuck them back.
so when Bangladesh came into the picture, they told Bangladeshi people to stay in Bangladesh. But people started coming into India, and that is when they had to put forward such kind of border laws. And the Citizenship
Right,
Act dates
okay,
back to
that's-
1955, even before the whole Indo-Pak War. That's what I'm trying to say. So these wordings were there even
had,
before that, and the reason why,
the partition.
and yeah, exactly, for a reason. And the reason why they have three particular countries mentioned is because they are Islamic states, and from there you can have religious minorities being migrated into other countries. And in these states, the people that you're talking about are not classified as religious minorities. They're classified as population minorities. And if you look at the numbers also, the Hindus and Christians form about, I think, 5 to 6 million, whereas the Wahhabis or Ahmadis are like 125,000.
Whoa,
And if you
Wahhabis.
talk about and if you talk about Rohingyas, right? Rohingyas, Myanmar is a secular state apparently, and you cannot take in immigrants from such a state because it's a secular state. And then you take Sri Lanka and all those places, you can have other examples. Now, why is it that Iran is taking refugees into their country? Why is it that Shias are not going there? There's a whole bunch of things that are happening. Why is Pakistan suddenly they were very interested in Kashmiri
Right,
Muslims?
okay.
Right? Why is
So,
it that in this scene they're
I'm
not
not
extending?
saying- I'm not
First
saying
of all,
like,
do you,
No,
do you
but see,
really
what
think that
matters
India
is
is in a
like,
state? India is in an economically stable state that we
India
are
is not
able
in
to
a state
accept
to
refugees
accept
again.
anybody into the country. So,
Exactly.
Yeah, now that's
Why-
the other side of the argument. Okay.
Yeah,
now wait,
exactly.
That is the other side
Like,
of the
see,
argument.
No, then
Exactly.
why?
That would
If
be-
we are
that would
already,
be a
if we
sensible
are
thing
already
to do,
fucked
right?
like this, if we are already fucked
No,
like this
one
with
second,
too
one
many
second,
people
one
and too
second.
little resources, why exactly would
Yeah,
we take
I need to
people
make
who
a
are
point.
refugees and especially non-Muslims?
Because we are not taking everyone. We are not taking everyone. There is a list of 300,000 people or 30,000
But then
people
look-
or something like that
See-
which was already formed years ago, and they are only giving citizenship to this list of these people, not everybody who's crossing the border. That is why they put it till 2014.
No, but see, no,
whatever.
but see, look, what's happened now is anyone who enters a country illegally, right, without papers, as long as you're not a Muslim, you can become a citizen by naturalization.
you can't.
That is the
You
point that this is
can't.
making
You
now.
can't.
Yes,
You
you
can't.
can.
You just have to
That
live in the
is
country for
that
5
is
years.
14. You
You
can.
literally
Only
had to live in the
people who
country
came
for
into
5 years.
No,
Oh
dude,
God,
it's
since
dude, only
2014.
people who came.
It's 2014.
Which
Yeah.
is 5 years.
No, not
Which is
tomorrow,
5
not
years.
tomorrow or today.
In 20, wait,
Yeah.
listen. In 2015, the government already made changes to like 2 acts. Okay, the Passport and Foreigners Act to allow any non-Muslim refugees from any country to stay back in India, even if they entered the country without papers.
For 11 years. With 11 years of citizenship.
No.
That is the time that will be required for
That is how
citizenship.
you become. No. That was
A
the
citizen.
earlier thing. That was the clause for citizenship by naturalization. That is, if we stay here,
Exactly.
it became now
Exactly.
like 5. Now it became 5 years,
5 years.
right? But that is not what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
Now this is a different thing. Now this is if you are an illegal immigrant. Okay, if you've been here for more than 6 years, you can already become a citizen by naturalization. But if you enter the country without
Considering
papers
you're not a
now,
Muslim.
okay, yeah. If you enter, no, even if that was already there. But now what's happened is if you have no papers and you enter the country, you can become a citizen, even as long as
You
you're not a
can't.
Muslim.
You still can't.
Yes, you
still
can.
can't. That's the whole point. No, you can't.
You can.
You can only but CAB only applies to people who came in before 2014, not after 2014. You can't. Then what are you saying? Like the border is just
No,
open to
in
everyone. It's not
2015,
true.
no, in 2015 we just had like this law. Like then 2015 is when we made that amendment. Like that anyone who can
What amendment?
like any non-Muslim refugee, we made amendments to the Passport and Foreigners Act. I think. I'm not sure.
So, Vishnu, I think you're sort of misinformed over here, dude. The amendment is for people who were in India before 31st December 2014. So I don't think anyone who is entering right now can say, okay, I'm not Muslim, I can be a citizen. No, I don't think that's how it works.
Exactly. That's not how it works. So that is what I'm trying to say. And then the NRC will be implemented in Assam, and they have a list of 1.9 million people on that list already. That is what the detention camp was built for. And there were a lot of allegations saying that there was not enough space and food allocation and stuff like that in these refugee camps, which is why they started making more of these camps to house. That is the whole 1.9 million number comes from there. And I'm not saying that this is, see, like
bros.
you pointed out the economy, right? And no, you pointed out the economy,
Bros.
right? And yeah.
No, 1 second. It's time for me to go to the mosque. So I'll just say a few things and I'll fuck off from you. You guys continue with the discussion. Yeah, ironic. Shut the
Just say
fuck up.
Allah Akbar.
No, it'll go boom after that. So no. Anyway, point is, bro. When India, we are a country who has enough fucked up people. I mean, not fucked up people. When we already had too many people in here with too little resources, we are not exactly in a state to take in any migrants. And when these people are doing this at a time like this, it's pretty evident that this is just to appeal to the Hindu majority sentiments of the country, saying that instead of making an Akhand Bharat now, we are collecting bits of the old Bharat which got scattered elsewhere and we are bringing them back to this country. That is one thing. Secondly, they are more or less making the Muslims feel like they are secular and really the actual citizens of Bharat. That's the whole idea
Can you say
behind.
that again? Can you say that again? I think you got cut off.
Yeah, you got cut off.
Oh yeah, okay. Saying instead of going with Akhand Bharat, these
No, they're
people are now
making the
bringing
Muslims
back.
feel. They're making the Muslims
Ah,
feel.
feel like they are
Alienated.
second-rate citizens. As in now we actually have to prove the citizenship, and you know some minority
has to
communities
prove
are more
citizenship,
equal.
Faisal.
Yeah, bro. I'm
Everybody
saying
has to
about the
prove
migrants.
citizenship.
Like when it comes to the migrants, I'm saying like some minority communities are more equal than the others, and that is a little bit fucked up.
But that's always been the
That
case.
is that's always been the case. And you talking about migrants?
And
like
no, I'm
these
saying this. No, I'm
these-
saying this. Some minority, just on the base of the religion. As in, non-Muslim minorities are a little bit more Indian than Muslim minorities.
Dude, it's not.
Okay,
It's not
and
because
then
they are
third
more
point-
Indian. It's not because they are not. It's not because they are more Indian. It's just that it's about the declaration of minorities in these states. Because the states that they are talking about is particularly Islamic states, and they haven't declared them as religious minorities. There, you cannot. That's why the minority list didn't have Muslims right from the beginning of the act. It's not something BJP
Okay, bro.
brought
I'm
into the
very
picture.
I'm not
even saying
very
they're
I'm
good
not
or
very
not.
sure about this thing. But
Just read
what
up
about the
about- there are
Tamilians who are
first of
there
all three
already?
clauses.
No,
There are first of all
bro,
three
I'm not sure
clauses
about the
in
thing what
the-
I'm
in
about to
the,
say.
yeah.
Bro, once again, I'm talking about the Tamilian who are there in Sri Lanka. People who were extradited
Yeah.
there back then. Sri Lanka is a Buddhist
Yeah.
majority country,
You know
and I
why?
don't think
You know
there is a
why?
clause
You know
for.
why?
Are you talking about? I'm gonna talk
You know
about
why?
LTT now.
It is because of
Are you gonna-
LTT. The population
Oh
of
my
the population of
God.
LTT Tamils, the population of LTT Tamils in India, the population of LTT Tamils in India was 1 crore, and it has come down by because they have been deported back into Sri Lanka. This is literally there.
Wait,
And
you can't
plus
say
there is
LTT Tamils, bro. LTT is a fucking militant organization. You can't just call all Tamils as LTT people. It's like saying all
No,
Muslims
I'm
are
not saying all.
terrorists.
No, I'm not saying.
What he
I'm not
meant
saying
was
all,
Sri Lankan
Tamils.
Sri Lanka
Sri
Tamils,
Lankan
okay.
Tamils I'm talking about, yeah, and those are the guys who killed Rajiv Gandhi, and that is how they had. Why do you think they killed Rajiv Gandhi in the first place?
They killed
Why do you
Rajiv
think so?
Gandhi because India fucked around in Sri Lanka.
Exactly. India fucked around with LTT in Sri Lanka and with the help of the Sri Lankan government. And they had LTT tribes in India, and the Indian forces armed forces in India tried to push them out from there. And then now they are claiming
Again,
minority status.
bro-
Doesn't work. But point being that there is even another clause in CAB which talks about overseas Indians. It even talks about denying citizenship for Indians who are abroad and who are caught in felonies and things like that. There are a couple of other points also. There are 3 points in the CAB. Nobody talks about any of these things. It's just like what I'm trying to say is that Congress is still playing minority politics, but instead they should actually build proper representation and represent people in front of legislation. They're not doing any of that. Instead, they're just creating mob violence, which is not the right way to go, is my opinion. I'm not saying that what BJP is doing
Okay,
is also the
bro.
right thing because of the economy and stuff.
BJP is doing what they're doing because of how fucked up the economy is. Anyway, point is, I don't really feel that burning public
that's not
property
true,
or
but okay.
attacking, burning public property or anything like that is exactly the way to have a protest. It should be peaceful. But
agree,
at the same
agree.
time, when at the same
I
time,
mean, that's obvious, right?
when the cops and when the people who belong to the state itself want more violence to happen so that the protesters can be targeted and hated on by the regular majority public of India. A little bit of violence
me ask
is
you a question. Let me ask
inevitable.
you a
It's not
question.
like
Let me ask you a
I'm not
question.
justifying
Let
it,
me
but
ask you a question.
I'm saying it's just inevitable. It's not like we
Let me
can
ask
control
you a
that.
question.
Let me ask you a question.
But see,
Why do you
like
think,
when it results.
Bro, one second, bro. No, I need to go to the mosque, so I'll just finish this one more last point and fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Friday. So yeah, bro. As I
It's
was
Friday,
saying,
it's
as I was
Friday.
saying, Friday. Gotta go for Juma on Friday. Gotta blast cars on Friday. So yeah, bro. As I was saying,
Hey, we should
appealing to
end
the
the
Hindu
episode with
majority.
you going Allahu Akbar. We should end the episode with you going Allahu Akbar.
I'll put a soundtrack of an explosion right after that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Allahu Akbar. Anyway, yeah. So, bro, the point was appealing to the majority Hindus in India is exactly what they are trying to do, according to me. Okay, and this whole prasanam of putting a lotus symbol on a fucking passport to how UAP is being constructed. Yeah, it's super fucked up. They're saying anybody who writes against the state or things that will instigate violence or people to move against the state can be called a terrorist, and he can be persecuted by the NIA, not just by the direct police or any of the other forces.
See,
that is one
doesn't
thing.
it really seem
And then-
like the whole BJP anti-Muslim sentiment is getting like to a boiling point? Don't you really think like the whole protest is just a reaction just to that thing? The fact that they've
That
been
is exactly
going
what I'm
on this
saying.
whole...
No,
That's
wait,
exactly
I'm
what I'm
just
saying.
keeping
All this
quiet because
agitation
Faizi
is
has to
because
say
of
stuff
this.
and go to the mosque. I have
Yeah,
points to say, but yeah.
actually, okay, yeah. Bro, you guys can listen to the episode later.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll just finish this. So UAP is another thing because they don't really specify what exactly this literature against the state is. It really could be anything that
Quran.
that pisses off the state. Don't make me say Allah Akbar too early. Shut up. That is one thing. And then the privacy data protection bill. That's another thing where even your fucking chat can be monitored because government can now ask the data from Google and Facebook and other such conglomerates without us agreeing to it because in the sake of national security, again in double quotes. Because that's bullshit.
Yeah,
but yeah,
that should
the
be-
point is if
that's
you
bad, yeah.
basically if a Muslim
that
is
happened
talking
when
against
everyone was
or,
busy talking about cab.
Hey, but
Yeah,
that's not
that's
just
exactly
about
what I'm saying.
Muslims. Come on, don't make everything about Muslims.
like
It's a data prevention act is bad for everyone. It's not for
bad
for
for
monitoring
everyone.
Muslim conversations. Come on, bro.
No,
come on.
man.
They'll
Muslim
probably use that
conversations will
against
be
Rahul
monitored
Gandhi.
too, bro. I mean,
They'll probably use it for fighting where Rahul Gandhi is, where he's getting his cocaine from. That's basically what it is.
where is
Hey, who's the
where
new
is Modi?
person in our chat?
Anyway, boys, I need to go. Yeah, so, bro, under this data protection bill, if any so-called minority which the state necessarily hates, if he is talking to a friend of his or if he's sharing something in a way that it pisses off the government, he can be charged under UAP and he can be labeled a terrorist and he can be taken in. Just like how Akhil Gogoi got arrested last week because he's the one who instigated this whole strike shit in Assam. And my last point is that the protest in Assam is still going on. The only difference that around 1,400 people are detained in Assam, okay? And some 21 people have died of knowing a lot about this thing simply because they have cut down the internet. We are getting enough shit from all countries all over the world and calling India as the internet shutdown capital of the world. And I'm saying all these points, stuff like suppressing resistance and cutting down internet and taking away communication from people is nothing but a state that is clearly going towards fascism. And this revolution or whatever uprise that is happening in India is just because of the agitation of all these people. Media is being controlled, internet is being controlled. They are basically planning for you what you want to think, and that is exactly the definition of fascism for me. So with that, I think I'll have to go to the mosque before my mom kicks me out of my house. So yeah,
Yeah,
take care, boys.
Communal fascism.
You guys continue.
House level communal fascism.
All right.
Bye guys. Bye.
We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us, Pussy.
my pleasure, Mosik. Take care, boys.
See ya, bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so where should we start now? Where should I start?
Okay. So wait, you know how there's been like a lot of parallels between like Nazi Germany and
Germany,
India being made
yeah.
right now?
Okay.
Yeah. Do you think they're in the right or do you think they're fucking stupid?
People who are talking about India being like Germany. I mean, the
Yes.
BJP being like Germany.
like Nazi
Nazis.
Yeah.
Becoming Nazi
I
Germany.
would-
basically,
Becoming more and more fascist.
The whole parallel. basically.
I would agree to some extent, but not entirely either. Like I wouldn't call them Nazis.
I mean, yeah, we haven't started gassing the Muslims yet.
Exactly, and plus, dude, like, see,
Officially.
like when you talk about Nazi Germany and their concentration camps and all of that stuff, people only found out about these atrocities after the war. Okay, but that is
I
not
know.
the condition. That is not the condition today. And these concentration camps were like in God knows where places, Auschwitz and stuff. You couldn't even get there. Okay, and they were highly militarized. But that is not the case in
Kind
India.
of like.
And especially,
I wonder what's going on in Assam.
So
it's
they are
not the
making
same.
more
It's not the
space
same in
for
Assam.
people to live. Like they're making new things so that there's more space.
And plus like people talk about Assamese people like they're angels, but that's not the truth either. Like they wanted everybody out of their country, regardless of their
They
Muslims,
killed
Buddhists,
so
Christians,
I mean,
whoever
they-
the fuck.
they
so
killed-
Yeah,
many-
they have
Muslims.
a huge secessionist movement also. That is like
Yes.
the whole Northeast basically has
yes.
a good secessionist movement, like in every part of the Northeast, most of the time.
Exactly. So that is the situation that is happening over there now. There are a bunch of fairy tale humanitarians over here who are like, we should just embrace everybody. Like you make the assumption that everyone are nice people and we have an ideal society. All your stuff that you're talking about will work in an ideal society, but it's not the case in a third world country. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. And he said that we are being called the internet shutdown capital, which is not true. Like you have China right across the border, and
No,
we're
see,
talking
they
about
have a
democracy.
censored
And one second, we're talking about
No, they
Right,
have a
yeah.
censored
Yeah,
internet.
that's what I was
right?
going to
We
say.
have,
That's what I was
but we've
going to
had
say.
the most number of shutdowns. Like that is just a fact.
So that's what I'm going to say next. That is what I was going to say next. Like now the government cannot make a unconstitutional shutdown act. Like it has always been there. Like there was a provision to shut down information. Like during the emergency, for example, newspapers were shut down. And
Yeah, exactly.
couldn't,
Even
like,
newspapers
reporters were
can't.
not
Yeah.
allowed. Yeah, so today the situation is different. You have social media, that's where all the news and controversies are sprung up, and that's where you shut down the internet. That's the media, and that shutdown also doesn't in Assam, for example, it didn't last more than 3 days. Like I have friends who are talking to their parents in Assam over the internet, WhatsApp call, right? And it's not shut down in all places. It was shut down in Guwahati where the protests were happening. In other places of Assam, it was still functioning. They did not shut it down in Bangalore or places like that. In Delhi, there was one district where Airtel suspended their services for I think a day. So this is what is happening.
Hey,
And now related to
complete
that, there would be
sidetrack.
inconvenience. Yeah.
What do you think porn is doing?
He would be on the dark web, dude.
He's probably
Above all internet.
he's probably Pablo Escobar. Porn.
Porn blow esco porn.
He's probably he's smuggling people across the border. That's what he's doing. He's shoving charas up people's asses and then smuggling them across the border. Human pellets.
Back and forth.
So that is where I disagree with saying that, and plus like the whole situation that you're talking about, like the whole dictatorship and all of that stuff, it is still a constitutional, like they call it the quasi dictatorship or whatever, and that is a constitutional situation that has been arrived at. And even back then, if you look at it, like we didn't really have much of an opposition. Who was the opposition? NDA. I mean, NDA was the opposition to UPA, right? And UPA had most of the majority seats. And they basically functioned as one unit. They had regional differences, and so that never reflected on central policies ever. And they enjoyed something similar of a luxury in passing stuff also, but nobody knows about it.
Do you think it
because
would
it's
have?
completely under the
Do
table.
you think the whole law being passed would have changed at all if we didn't have like the anti-defection thing?
Anti what?
Anti-defection. Basically, if you're with the BJP, you have to vote like how the BJP votes, right? That's like legally cannot vote against it if the whole party is voting for it.
Exactly. See, like that's what I'm saying. Like that is because of the situation at the parliament. Like in the Lok Sabha, they have 305 seats. Like there is no other option. Like unless Congress pumps in money and buys out MLAs, there is
No, but even then they
other
can't
way
vote
around.
against something that like if BJP goes like this is our official stance, you have to vote for this. They can't say no.
Because they don't have a majority. they don't have a majority. That's why they can't say. There's no point in saying no. Like, see, when they were passing the CAB, 80 of the 80 seats, I think, 80 people in 80 representatives in Lok Sabha opposed it, right? And in Rajya Sabha also, they won by a margin of what, 105 votes, apparently, something like that. So, which means that there were yeses and nos, but the yeses are just far outnumbers the no's, and so there is no other way this could have gone forward, and that is a democratic process. What is democracy? It's the rule of the majority, right? Of the demographics or whatever. And then you talk about the responsibility of the government, and suddenly people are talking about Congress having been the most responsible government in the world. Not true. This whole communal tension situation started. Minority politics was pioneered by Congress. You take the situation in Kerala, for example.
I mean, we've had
And then
communal
suddenly
clashes
people are like,
ever.
yeah, and suddenly people are like, Kerala government is awesome, Pinarayi Vijayan is amazing. The dude is an acquitted murderer, right? And so all of these kind of things are very contradictory. People are just picking stuff they want to believe in because they don't know history about Indian politics at all. And that's a problem. And you take Belgium. Take Belgium, for example.
Belgium.
There are a bunch of other countries like this. Yeah, where they accepted refugees into the country. Now the refugees outnumbered the indigenous population there, and they're asking for an Islamic state there. So these
like
kind of things
America.
are about, yeah.
America. How do you think the United States came into being?
They went there and they killed a bunch of native people. They were like, this is us. Let's go.
Basically. So this is the issue. This is the whole reason why we have borders and we have national identities and this and that. People don't understand that. They're like, we'll have a global population, which is we are not like enlightened yet to do something like that. Like, there's no point in speaking about it until you can get there. We just try to make do with what you have right now. And at the same time, all of these people, like all the liberal people that you talk about, they probably would have applauded Christopher Hitchens and just examine what Christopher Hitchens says. Simple as that. Like that'll just expose all your hypocrisy right there. So this is the point. And I'm not saying the BJP government looks kind of fascist, but it does because of the kind of constitutional situation that exists. And people need to if the only way around it is if there is a stronger opposition, and that has not been the case. Like, if you take Congress, for example, they have been appealing. They have never been around in the first place. Okay, like Rahul Gandhi, for example, it was mostly his fault. Like, he was never present during. He only comes for campaigning, and he's never present during the normal workings of the government. And how many parliamentary sessions has he missed when he was MP? So many. You can count them in numbers. But BJP never did that. Like, and their campaigning was more effective because they approached the people who are not on social media, and that turns out that's the majority of people. And yes, there are people on social media which also they manipulated very well with the IT cell, but that is a very small number is what I'm trying to say. Like, people talk about WhatsApp forwards and this and that. That works on people who are on WhatsApp, and that is all of the people together will be like all the people who comprise that category will probably be 18% in India, because only 320 million people are on social media in India. And the rest of the people are not on social media, and there was ground level campaigning to bring those people into their umbrella, and that happened. That worked well, which is why you see the majority of people who have voted for BJP. And it's a different question if they are right or wrong, and what they're doing is this or that. But this is how Indian politics worked, and they played that game very well. And the whole thing about game theory is that if one person quits, then the other person wins by default. There is no grey area in a game theory. There's either you lose or you win. There is hardly a draw, and that's what happened.
So India,
you know what people need?
Salvia.
Some communist donor propaganda.
And we'll pay them in salvia, basically. Like Muscle says.
Hey, but we can end the Christmas episode on a positive note.
Yeah.
Trump is being impeached.
Dude.
Even that's not sure, by the way.
Yeah,
that's not sure, by the way.
But the procedures.
He's making jokes about
House and
get me
exactly.
in the pitch.
Hey, last time he joked about the Russians have to win.
No. No, like even the whole Trump thing, like House of Representatives, which is basically the Democrats, they voted him out, and which has never happened in 3 years. That's the only thing about it. Now they'll bring it to the Republican House, where he'll be brought back, and then
It'll be like he'll be totally fine.
yeah, and everybody else will be like, so what do we do now? Trump will like suck dick.
Dude,
This.
The Witcher is out apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
I need to watch that.
The movie.
Yeah, no, the series.
The series.
Dude, if you can find torrents.
Oh, have you guys been watching Watchmen? Have you guys been watching Watchmen?
No.
No.
Oh, so good. I like it.
Good? Wait, how much
Yeah,
is it
it's really
rated
good.
I think I'll check it out.
I don't know, but I've watched like every episode today, and it's been good. It got like so first it's done like an HBO show where the first few episodes are like okay.
It's increased. The ratings increased. People stop complaining about it.
Yeah, because I hated all the butthurt people. It's like, oh no, HBO is not just remaking the whole movie into a series. My ass hurts from all the fucking butt fucking pay.
Now it's like
fuck those fucking idiots.
the show is incredibly well acted. The first week.
Yeah, no shit, motherfucker. Look, when they whipped out, when fucking Dr. Manhattan showed up with this big blue penis, everyone shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I want to watch the thing.
Yeah. That's okay, you know, Manhattan
Yeah,
will show.
on a side note, like regarding the discussion we had, right now we basically ended up back to square one. Like, yeah, I have my opinion, you have your opinion, right? And now when you have to take a decision, what do you think will happen apart from the communal violence, if it's state versus the people?
I'll be fine. I am a Hindu.
Dude.
So the thing is are we going to go down
Give me a sec, Afsal's calling.
Are we going to go down the route of self-preservation or like, community preservation? And I would say if some atrocities are happening, people are not going to be silent. Even with the smell of like even with like the smell of an atrocity, everyone's like not even like there's no clear evidence of anything actually like malicious happening. Yeah, and I mean there's not clear evidence of like the extent of maliciousness that people are portraying, and even then like half the population's out not half the population, but like a large number of people are out on the streets like protesting. So if anything seriously was happening, people would go mad. Like even like people who are like right now like why are you protesting would be out on the street like protesting and like trying to get the situation fixed. So I have like complete faith in the Indian population, but also I don't have faith. I don't have like in people who jump into a situation without looking at it fully. Like,
guess what Afsal wanted?
Right.
What do you want?
Identity proof.
What?
Afsal wanted an identity proof.
Wait, why?
He doesn't have his original Aadhaar, I think, so his driver's gonna come give it to me.
Oh, and you gotta take a photo and send it to him?
No, I'm going to back
Basically-
I'll just give it to him there.
Basically, Vishnu is his ancestor at this point.
Right, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, so Vishnu, that's you were completing your point.
He got 130 grams.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's nice. Okay, anyway. Back to the point. What were we talking about?
What were you guys talking about?
So I do believe that the Indian population would not stand for like atrocities happening to anyone inside India. Outside India, people don't give a shit. But like inside India,
But see, look, no. Outside India, it'll flare up. Look, so there is a chance for it to flare up, right? If it wants to be, like they could use this as like. So last time we had like some sort of like real fucked up emergency sort of situation happening. It was because of like an external disturbance turned to an internal disturbance. We could have the opposite happen here, right? I mean,
so
look, all I'm saying is, I'm all down for.
let me just finish up.
So what I'm saying is all this like excessive protesting, I think is only going to make matters worse and not better. Like it's not going to, since there's no real problem that needs to like be addressed, except for the fact that cab is a bad idea in general. But like it's not. This is not how we protest for something that is like an.
Yeah,
a
like
thing-
Bangalore
a
is
thing
doing a
like-
good job, to
yeah.
be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They're doing it peacefully. They're like,
Right.
I completely don't approve of,
You don't burn
getting-
trains and you don't burn buses. To
Yeah, you
show your
don't.
anger
You
against-
don't fucking.
It just worsens
Exactly.
your case. And
Right,
like all
right,
these
right.
fools supporting these people on social media are like pretty much idiots if they think they're making like a positive change.
Violence is the option. That is definitely not the answer, because then why are you in any way better than those you're protesting against if you're going to resort to violence, right?
Exactly.
Right.
The video of that
Hey.
police guy getting beaten up really like hurts to watch. Dude. It like
Yeah.
literally
And,
hits,
and
it's
one
not
more
his choice that he's out there.
I mean, you can't blame the cops. They're just doing what they're told.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
his job. Being out there. I mean,
And the worst part, bro, like for all of this is being circulated, they don't show the part that is before or after the clip that they want to show.
yeah, exactly. This-
Yeah, there is
And,
no
like the-
reference to it, so it can be
There's no
shown
context.
as
There's no
anything it
context.
wants to be.
Exactly, and that is something people should look up, and they should like look up these things and think for themselves before they start sharing it like wildfire. Like they have their own opinion. They might be, whatever they're propagating might be right, or it could be
Fake
wrong.
news
also.
has
So before
actually
you-
become.
Yeah,
A
Fake
serious
news has
problem.
actually become a proper issue, hasn't it?
it's become a problem.
Exactly. And the whole India is Germany and things like that doesn't even hold true, because like if you look at the situation in Germany in 1914, they were what do you say?
There
It
was
was an
lack
empire
of
basically.
information. Now there's too much information.
Yeah, and there was lack of
No, but
information.
yeah, exactly.
Plus
And
Germany
not all
was an
of it is
empire.
valid information.
Yeah.
Right. And Germany
I
was
mean,
an empire. Then it was a constitutional monarchy for a long time. And it was a very different thing over there. Like you had all sorts of ways to bypass things. There was no particular constitution as such, and that is the whole reason why.
See,
all these
but
things
the
were
thing
happening.
was, it was done. The whole thing there was also done legally, even though it wasn't really like, even though there was like a very strong outcry against it, it still managed to make itself happen.
Yeah, but the
And,
legal
I mean-
system over there was written without any equal representation. That's my point. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like the percentage of Germans in Germany, Jews in Germany was only 3% of all the population. So that is a very
Not
different
like a
situation
30
compared to in our
30%.
case.
It's not like a 30% population of the second most populous country of the world.
Exactly. And India has one of the highest population of Muslims in the world, if you take, for that matter, even in terms of density, for that matter.
Yeah, we have the most number of Muslims in the world.
And when we wrote the constitution, we had written that in agreement with all of the terms that these people are using, right, like the acts that they are referring to and stuff like that, have been in the constitution since 1955. This is the only amendment that they have brought about in the CAB is the 11 to 5 years and the list that they're preparing. But apart from that, everything else is previously a reference to, and that was done in consultation with Muslims back in the day, like when the whole partition thing and everything happened. So in that way, the whole thing that the allegation about Nazism and all is very it's not true. At least I'm not saying it can have resemblances, but it's not true. It's not a true statement. That's my point. It's not a fact.
But don't you think there's like a general like trend of like right-leaning fascism sort of a thing going on worldwide,
But-
with all these strongman leaders?
Definitely.
Exactly. That is one of the main reasons why the whole global economy has also slowed down. The exports have fallen down, and the global economic slowdown has happened, and people are becoming extremely nationalistic and closing down borders because things are
Hey
mixing
guys,
up, right? Like
you know what
cultures are
it's
mixing
time
up.
for? It's time for
What?
World War III.
Dude, World War III would open up all the borders.
Yeah.
There'd be like so much
I
chaos.
mean,
But
we've had one because of European pissing contest. We've had one because of American pissing contest. Let's have one for Asian pissing contest.
Starring China and India, two most populous countries in the
China,
world.
yeah, the world. Fight.
Oh, dude.
So
The problem there would be it won't be like the previous wars. So it will start and end pretty quickly.
Tea farmer versus rice farmer. Tea seller versus rice farmer.
No, it will be like a very fast war, and then after that, the insurgencies that happen from within the country, like one part is going to lose, probably India.
Probably, yeah.
And then the insurgencies that follow up, like what happened in Iraq or like what happened in the Middle East, is what's going to happen.
Do you think we'd be better off balkanizing as a country?
Better of what?
What?
Balkanizing. You know what happened to balkanizing? Like basically what happened to the USSR? It was a big fucking country and it broke up into a lot of little countries.
Yeah, it would work, but I think again
But
we'll have like
don't
border.
we have?
We'll have like problems with like border issues, but this time it'll be with North India. Like it'll be like
No, see, what if it was to be done like Europe?
Who owns half of Maharashtra? Like questions like that.
It's up for grabs.
No, but see, if Maharashtra is its own country, who the fuck cares? Not Kerala.
Oh, all the
yeah,
states,
dude,
all
but-
the
but
states
think
become
about this.
different countries, huh?
No,
But think
not
about
all
this.
the
Like
states
Maharashtra
either.
is sort
Think
of
Maharashtra. You know how
No, Maharashtra
Europe is basically a
Maharashtra-
bunch of little countries you can walk to.
I mean, that's technically what India is also like. I mean, like the whole of the European Union will probably be India's size, like at some point. So, like we have the state system for that reason. But then, like if you take Maharashtra for example, we have such a diverse population for that matter. Like in case of Maharashtra, there was a lot of immigration from north Hindi speakers coming into Maharashtra, and the Marathi culture was getting disrupted. That's how enter Shiv Sena. So Shiv Sena became popular during that time in the 80s.
Yeah, I mean,
And,
they're
they
anti-immigrant. That
basically
is
did
how
the-
they started.
Extremely.
They had to build the
Extremely.
wall
And
thing
that-
before the border.
Exactly, and this whole it was a situation that was even worse than what is happening in Assam to some extent, and they drove out people right out of there. But and at that time also, I'm sure newspapers would have written this fascism, this and that. But look at Mumbai today. Like, see, like that's what I'm trying to say. Like, India is has been a country that has gone through this so many times.
You can't just look at Mumbai and ignore the rest of Maharashtra. It still has like some of the poorest
even
fucking regions in India, right?
It will be there, right? Look at India has a population of, it's going to overtake China in 2021. It's going to have the largest population in the world. You take 1% of that population, it's such a huge number.
We finally win at
Not
something.
using a rubber. Not using a rubber.
Yeah.
Pronoun game very weak.
No, but like the other point is that like if you take anything in India, you even if 1%
No
of
nuclear
India you
weapons,
talk
we
about-
can't have a nuclear family.
And we have the largest defense expenditure, so that is
I
also
guess
there.
we have to nuke some families.
Gotta nuke some families.
Hey, you know what they say? Allahu Akbar.
Oh.
So with that, we end this episode of Communist Soda Propaganda.
Alright,
Have
so-
a good Christmas.
You fake ass bitches.
and like
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year and shit like that. Bye bye.
Yeah. We're not
Hopefully,
releasing
yeah.
for a while because fuck you all.